Hey guys, I am Dr. Anthony Gustin.
And I'm Chris Irvin.
This is question number 196 of 268 questions that we've answered in the Keto Answers book, which is everything that we've had asked to us that we've had to figure out on our own, all explained with great answers for you guys in a really easy to understand format.
Yeah, so a lot of the questions that we break down in this book are questions that we've been receiving a lot of over the last few years, like people asking them on a day-to-day basis. We tend to see a lot of common trends. And the question that we're addressing in this video is one that we get all of the time, which is what breaks a fast?
Food, eating. Yeah, so fasting, we would define it as not eating food, not consuming any food.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's some gray areas here where, I mean, that sounds really, really simple. But there's some people who come out and say, like, okay, I have this research that shows eating only a certain amount of calories, you get a lot of the same processes as fasting. I don't think we really buy that. I mean, with our opinion, fasting is just the exclusion of food.
Yeah.
And then people, I think, get really, really nitty gritty about it and say, okay, well, what about if I drink coffee? What about if I drink tea? What if I have this or that? You know, we're talking about some non-caloric compounds here, but stuff that can still stimulate the body in different ways.
Yeah, and I think for some reason with this fasting, everybody's doing it now, it's really popular. Everybody kind of wants to push the envelope a little bit and see, like, what can I have? So we'll get these questions like, can I have collagen and still be fasting? Can I have MCTs in my coffee and still be fasting? And I think in general, the thing that we always ask people is, like, what's your goal for fasting?
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who is just trying to better control your hunger and you're trying to, you know, reduce your calorie intake over the day, or you're trying to maybe improve your cognitive function and you notice that happens when you fast, you may take certain strategies to enhance that fasting by, like, incorporating MCTs during the fasting window by having some MCT coffee, fatty coffee, things like that. And we wouldn't traditionally consider this to be fasting because, like Dr. Gustin said, if you're having anything with caloric value, you're technically breaking the fast. But there are some things that we can have that can mimic the fast that can allow you to still achieve whatever your goal is for fasting. But I think as a general rule of thumb, we'll say that if your main goal is something like autophagy, then you're only going to really experience that to the most optimal level if you're doing completely calorie-restricted fasting.
Yeah, and the ketogenic diet is a fasting mimicking diet in itself.
Yeah.
A lot of the same pathways are done there. So the question that I always ask people is, like, why are you fasting? And I think that a lot of people can't really answer that very clearly. So they just think, oh, you know, I heard somebody on YouTube or on a podcast saying that fasting's so great for all these different reasons.
Yeah.
But they're not integrating that with their life and asking themselves, what am I trying to get out of fasting?
Yep.
If you were diagnosed with cancer and you're trying to prepare your body or push certain cells to the limit and create some autophagy and breakdown of cells, you do not want to eat any food and you want to do a fast.
Yep.
If you're just trying to reverse some insulin resistance and maybe lose some fat, you could probably eat some food and get away with it. But it's not technically a fast. You know, it's sort of a similar thing. And so it really, really depends on your goal and what you're actually trying to get out of it. You know, autophagy and some of these things just aren't really that important for a lot of people and what their goals are and what's sort of, you know, top of mind.
Yeah. So, and to give you guys kind of an example of this too, you know, for me, when I'm using fasting, I'm using it because I'm trying to enhance, like, my productivity and my work output. So, you know, when we were writing a lot of this book, I would fast a lot when I would try to get in, like, these deep work states. So for me, it's all about brain function during that fasting window. So I incorporate MCTs and things that can stimulate ketone production using exogenous ketones during that window because that's my primary focus, is I want my brain to work better, so I'm using those things. Now, if your primary goal is something different, like Dr. Gustin's saying, where you're trying to combat a certain condition, or maybe weight loss is your primary goal, then if that's really what you want to be focusing on, you want to optimize that, then it probably doesn't make sense for you to be including anything in the fasting window, and you probably want to just stick to traditional fasting. But I also think it's worth pointing out when we talk about this that fasting is not something that you have to do on keto. It's not something that you need to be doing every single day. Just because they're very similar and they tend to go hand in hand doesn't mean that because you're doing one, you have to do the other. I think there's a lot more benefit in using fasting strategically and not something that we should incorporate every day.
Yeah. If you're looking to simplify everything you need to know about the world's most confusing diet, head on over to Amazon.com and pick up Keto Answers today. The best part about it is that you're not just getting basic information. It's almost like you're getting a tiny little version of me and Chris shrunk down, put in your pocket to answer every question you have along your way.
And that's not weird, it's beneficial.
It's the best.